The pointy end is here. The prelims are set. After a couple semi-finals, we're all likely to forget. John Newcombe and Josh Dunkley were midfield beasts as Marcus Ashcroft watched his sons from the sniper seats. But the Media Awards took place last night to celebrate the best in the biz. The Best Podcast Award went to the Midweek Rub. So for all those who have waited, here it is! Congratulations, the three of you, Daisy Thomas, Damien Barrett and Joey Montagna. Great award last night.
Well done, team.
Hello, boys.
Here it is, mini Premiership Cup, Best Podcast, Football Entertainment, the Midweek Rub, Triple M.
Hey, can I have a hold? Finally hold a Premiership Cup trophy. Here we go. Oh, yes. There you
Premiership Cup.
go. It's only a mini one, but that'll do. We'll take it.
Well, it might be foreign to you and Damo. We do need to time code this.
9:57 Wednesday.
Yeah. So you grab one of these.
No.
Fill it up.
Cracking a beer into it and drink out of it.
BWS, of course.
Yeah, there it is. Swung past BWS. Good though. I open this hour. Fantastic. Well done to all involved.
Yes, well done, team.
Good recognition for our show. You know, the Midweek Rub, mate. Good to see that it wasn't accepted. You were there? We didn't get invited. We need to get to the bottom of this. Why weren't we invited to accept it?
Didn't even know that we were a chance to win something. I wasn't even there.
Well, when it got called out too, I realised that's the show we're on, and I'm on. And
so you and Will were there, Damo and Will. So who
Will
went up and got who went
and
up
I
and
was
accepted?
just about to get him a chair to
And Will beat you to it.
And then I saw this thing to my right just bolt from behind me.
Jeez, you must
And next
have been
minute he was on
keen.
stage, and I'm like, okay, I thought it might have been
Was it
you
Jasper?
or Days, and
Ethan.
you and Josh. Ewan just went up and took it. So
What's Ed got to do with this show?
I think he tried to make it an all of Triple M thing too, Joey.
What?
Yeah, like the acceptance was about Triple M, but
No way.
it's us, isn't it?
It's us. No, the other boys have got nothing to do with this. This is just our little humble little show.
There was rumours that Jasper was going to get up and accept it, but no one could understand what he was saying at that point in the night. That was only early. A 3 a.m. Uber Eats receipt that he forgot that he ordered.
Got here this morning and heard that he actually had ordered food and had forgotten it until he woke up 5 hours later.
Every now and then there's FOMO. You sort of go, it was an awards night. We didn't get invited. We won something. How good would it have been? You see the war zone that is today. And you go, oh, boy. Just coming in from a fresh lap of the tan and everyone else beaten up.
Yeah, you're a bit raspy, or you're not too bad?
I'm
Will?
okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I left the same time as Damo. We had Ubers at
4:30.
nearly not quite. But also congratulations to Damo,
Yes.
who was
Yeah, we do.
inducted as a life member
Well
of
done.
the
Congratulations,
Thank
Damo.
you, boys.
AFMA.
Thank you. Yeah.
How was your
It was-
speech?
It was okay. Now, Glenn McFarlane, who's a long-time mate of mine, it had
Spoken
a
about.
quick Q&A. But no, Lauren Wood's taken over now as chair of it and did a very good job.
Relief that you're no longer in charge?
Yes.
But we do
4 or 5 or 6.
We do often take the piss, so congratulations, because this is a
Thank you,
big
mate.
moment, a serious moment in what's been a great career.
Thank you, Dace. It's not what we normally do on Triple M, though, but thank you.
Is it anything like the AFL Hall of Fame? You know, you have to be out of the game for some time. Like, does it have to be more than
5
10
years.
more than 10 years since you've broken a
basically gotta be
story?
old. To get a life members, you've got to be
So
old.
2013
You've got to be old when you're around.
2013 was the last story, the Essendon saga. So you had to wait 12 years.
There it is.
before you-
That's better. I'm more comfortable.
We're getting awkward in the nice. Oh dear.
No, very good. No, nice. Well done. Well done, team. But now we're getting to the business end of the season too. So we're nearly done, Daisy. Almost feels like the last week.
Can I take this home?
You're going again.
Easily polished that stubby off.
Business end of the season and 2 finals, prelim finals in Melbourne,
For the
MCG,
ages.
95,000 as a minimum. Oh, this is when you start to walk around the streets. You can smell that September's in the air, and this is what we all live for.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be massive, won't it? We'll get to the games later on.
Yeah.
We'll dive into it. But it's as good a weekend as the AFL could ask for. After a bit of a year that the AFL hasn't been their finest, this sets up magnificently.
And the 4 clubs that are there, they're just used to being there, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they're all live chances, obviously not just this week, but to go the whole way.
Also, Rabsy's back in town, for those who
Is
are
he?
wondering. So he will be on today's Rush Hour.
I've forgotten what he looks like.
A lot of people have. His daughter's about 7. And so we were having conversations about whether I get Oscar McInerney out of this role next week, whether he plays the Darcy Fort role. We're not sure.
We will
gonna
have
play this?
the leadership group here will get together and we will decide who we want to
The
do.
three of us?
The 3 of us.
Selection
Yeah.
committee?
You're the captain, Damo. So we'll have a little selection meeting after this season.
Just
Next grand
if-
final week, whether Will has deserved his spot to do the grand final show,
Let's
or
do
does
it now.
Ramsey fly back
Let's
in?
do it now.
Oh, I'm voting Will.
I'm voting Will.
Yeah, I'll have Rabsy.
You're already outnumbered. Planted your flag.
See you next week, Will.
I'm looking forward to it. This is, of course, the Midweek Rub. Our predictions to come, as well as feeding them all Fugazi, the best media podcast in football. So thank you for everyone who has been listening over for 2025. Damo's news is up next. That's on Triple M's Midweek Rub, thanks to BWS. Predictions for those two preliminary finals to come, as well as feeding him or Fugazi. But Damo, news has just broken as we're here on a Wednesday morning from the Tasmania Planning Commission, and they have found that they would not recommend the project to proceed, meaning the Macquarie Point Stadium down there in Hobart.
Yeah, it's a major issue now because the whole licence for the Tasmanian Devils was predicated on this stadium being built with a roof, and the clubs had signed off on that with the AFL Commission that provided that happens, provided that does get signed off, they'll be all in on the licence. And obviously this story will now move pretty quickly, but we do timecode this show. We're talking Wednesday morning, and it's clearly a major setback because while people were saying even in recent days that Nathan Buckley was going to get the coaching job being offered to him by Brendan Gale, that could not be done. And Brendan Gale's been very open about this himself. There is no contract to offer because there is no licence in play. And clearly this is now a major stumbling block. And every arrangement and agreement to this point right now is null and void on the back of this decision today. So doesn't mean it's dead in the water completely. I don't think it's good look. I don't think it's got much chance to get through now. But it just means that everything is going to have to be revisited.
So is it, and in layman's terms, no stadium, no team? Was
Correct.
that no licence?
It wasn't no stadium with roof.
Yeah.
But no licence, yeah. That was...
Do you think there's any wriggle room now to negotiate redeveloping one of the stadiums they've already got? Is that, or are you
But what's
believing...
the roof was, and to the AFL's point, and to anyone who'd been down to Tassie, especially this year, if you're not putting a roof on it, it's almost like, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Look, the clubs are really reluctant to introduce... I mean, the economies of scale in this country at the moment aren't great from an AFL perspective. Some people would argue 18 clubs is too many. Now, let's just put that to the side for the moment. But to bring another one into this environment, and even the drain, Joey, I mean, you study the talent pool and talent pathways. There's a lot of fear out there that it's not going to be sustainable. I mean, the game in some respects hasn't fully recovered from the additions of the Gold Coast Suns and GWS Giants from a talent pathway perspective. And obviously the academies have kicked in since then. But look, we're getting off track, I suppose, from what is the nub of this story, and that is that the setback is that there is no stadium
cost is just too much.
It was always going to be prohibitive. And we also know that whatever number you attach to any build, be it your backyard renovations in your own house or a stadium with a roof on a river in Tasmania, you just almost prepared to double it before it even starts. So it's not great. And obviously the lobby groups down in Tasmania, rightly, in their eyes, have pushed back hard on this and they've got their way because it was going to be an impost financially on the state forever.
Well, that's a massive story. Does that make life a little bit easier for Essendon if it can just take a bit of heat off them for a few days?
Yeah, well, no, because Essendon would still trump that as a story. You talk about the back page paper would always go with an Essendon story. It's a mess, isn't it? And it hasn't got any better. We touched on it regularly as this year unfolded, how bad it was looking. And obviously the pointy-ended nature of Zach Merrett meeting with Sam Mitchell, which was revealed last week, and the fallout for that, I feel it's a point of no return now that he just can't go back and doesn't want to go back. And the words are being spoken by him, Days, and about him and against him by now teammates and other clubs and briefings with various people in the industry. It's as ugly a situation as we've seen. It's
gone just a full-out leak fest from both sides of the fence, hasn't it? Just to get your narrative out there and your story out there to the best of whatever you want it painted. It is, it's horrible. And if there's a world where it doesn't end up being a trade, well, he's clearly not going to be captain. And how you walk back into that joint and look in the face some of the teammates who've come out and been put out to speak about you and to say how disappointed they are, and probably rightfully so because you should be. But is there a world where he has to go back in? The club's got to facilitate the trade, and he's got to be happy with it.
It almost seems it's too hard now. But
are they going to get the best for him though?
Well, they're going to have to try and get as best they can. But Damo, my lens, I'm hearing a lot of anger from Essendon people at Zach Merrett, and there's an element of that. But I'm wondering whether the fans need to then take this and look at their own club and understand why this is happening. I mean, Zach Merrett, we've lauded him for his leadership and the way that he prepares, and he's a deep thinker of football. He really analyses the game. So for him to see really no light at the end of the tunnel, along with what Draper has already decided to do. Ridley wants out, and we've heard that Mason Redmond's manager was looking around as well. Clearly, there's something not right at the football club. So I'd like to see the Essendon fans maybe channel their frustration, anger at what is happening at that club. That their senior players, their best players, are looking to move out of that place. That's probably the alarm bells.
I think if Zach came out though and said, "Look, at the start, I'm going to explore my options. I understand I'm the captain, but I'm here. I want to win. I don't see success here. I've only got 4 or 5 years left as a player. This is where I'm at." I think it was how it was handled. Oh no, I'm not keen, and then all of a sudden you're caught having a meeting, or it comes out that you're having a meeting. I think that's where the fans certainly blow up about. I don't think they have any grievances against him if he came out and was honest. But again, are we ready for a captain to say, I want to go elsewhere? Probably not.
I'm with you, Joey, on the overall running of the club. I mean, you go back 3 years, August 2022, when David Barham, the now president, and at the time had been on the board for 7 years at that stage, decided to roll the president, Paul Brasher. He then facilitated the sacking of Ben Rutten, and that was messy. You remember that? They forced him to coach the last game, having already made the decision to sack him, and then Xavier Campbell, the CEO, resigned as a result of all those moves. And he actually said publicly that he's an agent of change, agent of some sort of change. Well, 3 years down the track, there's no change. I would argue if there has been change, it's only been of a worse nature than the one he tried to rectify himself.
And it feels like they've changed tact with their philosophy, Daisy, on field, because only last year did they bring in Jade Gresham on big money. They brought Ben Mackay in, Xavier Dersma, and also Todd Goldstein. And then within the space of 12, 18 months, they've changed tact and said, oh, no, we're rebuilding. We need to play the kids. And I think that's probably lent to Zach Merrett's frustration that he was sold one vision. It's changed on the run a little bit, and he's struggling to see where the light is coming from. So it's a bit of a mess, as you touched on, Damo, at the Bombers.
And again, another club down the bottom of the ladder, North Melbourne, has its captain also seeking a way out of the club. Now, everyone's being cute about this at the moment, but in the past 24 hours, it has emerged that despite being contracted for 2029, all the way through to the end of 2029, he too would like a scenario whereby he can explore options. Now, he's not going to say, Days, to your point, I want out, because that's the nuclear way of doing these situations. But the fact it has got out that he wants to look elsewhere, I'd be staggered now if North doesn't now go down this path and try and seek a trade. But I'm not sure there's going to be 17 footy clubs knocking on the door for Jai Simpkin at the price he's already on.
Just the initial thoughts on that. It's probably less devastating for the Kangaroos when you look at easy replacements on their list as to who may be the next captain when you've got some really good young talent coming through. You've got an LDU sitting there waiting in the wings. Harry Sheasel touted for his leadership, of course, but they're probably the reasons why he has found himself at half forward. It's been a selfless year in allowing kids to go through that midfield, Sheasel, McKercher, and the alike. So to then go to half forward and be sitting there going, well, I'm the captain. I'm a midfielder. I'm not a half forward flanker. It's the worst place on the ground to play. Do I then go and explore other options if there isn't a spot in the midfield for me? Absolutely. It's going to be the key is how much of the cash the clubs are going to willing to take on, because I'm sure the Kangas don't want to be paying a heap of it to let him go.
But also, let's look deeper. You've mentioned before, Jai Simpkin, how many wins he has played in the last 8 years. He's hardly won. He wants to enjoy his footy, I would think, somewhere else. And I just wonder with some of these players whether it's a little bit of, well, they've seen other players come out and say they want to trade. It becomes easier to then also say, can I look around? Because to put your neck out as captain is a big thing. But we've seen Oscar Allen, and now there's Zach Merrett, and there's some other big names that are requesting to leave. I think there's a bit of a flow-on effect now that other players are going, well, this is a good time for me, that maybe if I've been unhappy, to explore my options, because a lot of other players in a similar boat are doing the same thing.
Yep. Spoke with Jordan De Goey early in the week at Collingwood Footy Club. He just seems as happy as he's ever been. And the football side of it, Days and Joey, it's back, isn't it? What we saw in the first final and the rehab he'd been given since round 8 when he stepped aside and went overseas to Doha to get some treatment on his banged-up body, the build-up back through the VFL and the slow return through the AFL. But it all coincided with a massive performance in a final. And outside of Dusty, I've honestly mount the case, outside of Dusty, in the Dusty era, you could mount the case he's the best finals player. Now, I know there's others. Jack Crisp, a teammate of his, might be in the same conversation. I know Paddy Dangerfield's had a lot of good finals. Lockie Neal has stacked up as well. But I reckon his best in finals in key moments has him at the very top of that tree.
It's a great shout. Everyone's talking about John Newcomb at the moment, and rightly so. But Jordan De Goey, 2018, 2022, 2023, has had massive finals in all of them. And then, as we said, one of the best players on the ground last week in that win. So, no, he steps up and he's built for finals.
And this sort of, the way this year's unfolded and panned out, mature and professional which are probably two words that haven't been associated with Geordie a whole of a lot throughout his career. It seems like it's really, that penny's really dropped that, hey, this is the long game this year. Let's go away. Let's get ourselves absolutely right and be right for September. And even the way he's speaking, there's a real air of confidence, but also maturity in it and the approach he's taken.
He embraces the moment too.
It's good. It's awesome.
Yeah,
He's a big game player.
Put it to him about the Dusty thing, and he didn't shy away from it. Like he likes it, and he said there's expectation, and he wants it. You know,
some do, and some don't. Some would sit there and go, "Oh no," and dance around it. No, it's good to see.
It was good, yeah. One more before we go to the break. Charlie Curnow, we've talked for some weeks that he too wants out, and it's a bit like Jai Simpkin has indicated to the club if something can be done. It's code for I've got to get out. And I keep saying, in order, it's Geelong. This is in Charlie Curnow's ideal world. Geelong, Gold Coast, Sydney. And I expect those three clubs to somehow get involved. Now, I don't know how Geelong does it. I think they're of the three, that's going to be the hardest to be done, but that's where he wants to go first. But one of the other two, I think, by the close of play on trade period, by October 15, will have executed a deal to get him. That's where I think that's at now.
Well, so they should, but Daisy, for me, it's scary that we're already talking about a two-tiered competition at the moment with the top 9 and the bottom 9 all year. And we're seeing that these top teams are going to land these good players. Yeah. Hawthorn, Zach Merrett, Charlie Curnow to one of these clubs. There's now talk of Christian Petrarca potentially heading to an Adelaide or somewhere. Like, it is making it so hard for these clubs down the bottom to try and even get level pegging, let alone overtake these teams at the top of the ladder when they're getting to get top-end talent because they want to play in successful sides.
It's hard to mount a case, too, for how they're going to get better before, if Tassie comes in with, drafts that are going to be manipulated, how that starts to change. And if Charlie's to go to a Gold Coast Suns, what they then get in return and how that works. But even Geelong, like these sides are stacked already with talent. Sydney's probably the slight outlier. They genuinely need a full forward. They need somebody, a bit of star quality in that forward half. But the other two, you sit there and go, well, that's almost pushing them into outright premiership favouritism.
The Tassie thing quickly is going to affect these trades because if there is no Tassie team, you can now trade 2 years in advance and clubs might be wanting to entertain those picks in that draft if there's no Tassie compensation pick. So they need to know this before the trade period starts because you don't want to be in the draft in 2 years' time. You'd rather have your picks early.
Yep.
But if you're a club now rebuilding and there is no Tasmanian team, you can easily build up some more first-round picks in a couple of seasons' time and continue to do a slow rebuild.
Question without notice, what's Nathan Buckley thinking right now this morning after sort of knocking back a Melbourne coaching job on the premise that Tassie was going to be his in...
Yeah.
I assume this wasn't, put to him in the last week when they've chatted.
Well, all we can say as this story is breaking, as we're on air, is it's not ideal for anyone who had aspirations to be part of Tassie because of the need now for the AFL to go back to the clubs and rejig the plans and the commitments around the whole premise of the licence.
A lot going on.
Big,
And we'll get the predictions for those two huge prelims later in the show. But up next, it's Fair Dinkum or Fugazi on Triple M's Midweek Rub. Have you just seen Rabsy?
Just seen Rabsy.
Oh,
there he is.
Rabsy.
Look at him.
Look at him trying to claim some of the award.
We've done it. We've done it.
After 5 long years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well done, Rabs.
Well done, Rabsy.
Mate.
You played a part.
You're
You
alive.
played a part.
Congratulations.
You're alive, mate.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Looking good. Looking
Fair
good.
Dinkum or Fugazi, Will should stay on this podcast.
Yeah,
We've already
Fugazi.
voted.
mate.
We'll
Yeah,
vote.
we had a live vote.
I stood loyal. I'm going with you to Carlton.
He's available for the grand final. You drop and Rowan Jones.
That's good by him.
Well done, Rabsy.
Yeah. Not a time to think of that on the plane.
Joey.
Yes.
There is no combination of grand final remaining that would disappoint.
That is fair dinkum. These 4 teams, any of the combinations playing grand final day will be a special treat. So we are, as we said off the top, set up for a beautiful weekend.
Fun fact, Collingwood and Hawthorn have never met in the grand final. That would be
Jordan, isn't it?
That's a good one.
Ever.
Good fun fact.
good fun
Thanks to
fact.
BWS.
Thanks, BWS. Damo, some players are just born for finals, and Jai Newcomb is one of them.
Yeah, clearly that's an absolute fair dinkum. He's played 4 of them and been best or second best for Hawthorn and best on ground or second best on ground, full stop. So, yeah, can't see what he's about to do in Game 5, final style.
I wish I asked this one to Damo, actually, but I'll ask it for you, Daisy. Now their seasons are over, you would prefer to have had the 2025 of Adelaide rather than the Gold Coast?
Fugazi. You would have preferred, I would have taken the Gold Coast Suns season as more of a success than Adelaide's. Adelaide to where they got to, if you did it at the end of the home and away, you go tick, but then to win a final versus not winning a final, I think that's what it all comes down to.
And not even winning a quarter.
It is a weird perception that you can finish top 4, but if you lose both finals, it actually looks worse than if you win one from outside. I think it cost Simon Goodwin, I reckon, Melbourne finishing top 4 a couple of years in a row and going out in straight sets. It just has this bad taste in people's mouth. So
it does for me, for Adelaide, on your home patch, when you finish your game clear and you get beaten in 2 different ways.
Yeah.
At least a bit of a waft about it.
Melbourne, in 3 of those 4 finals you referred to, were competitive.
Close.
So they were
just
one-kick results, basically. The problem, I think, that the Crows have got, you did pose this question last week, Will, and it wasn't good because they were just blown away. They had no resistance to any form of pressure that applied.
I tell you what, having the forwards copped it. My goodness, the back line and the midfield were probably 2 of the bigger problems, and then the forwards who got the ball kicked over their head for 2 weeks in a row of being the bloody scapegoats.
Yeah, the mids were horrible. They got outplayed. But it means, so next year, if they're both in finals, yes, there'll be more pressure on the Adelaide Crows because of what they did this year.
So you think it was a disservice to finish as high
it's
as
just
they
the
did?
perception is that, there's more pressure on them.
You
So
get
that's
yourself
true.
in a spot to have 2 home finals, you got to win one. Otherwise, it's a cross.
Nice.
Simples.
Joey, Brisbane's midfield may be more dynamic without Lachie Neale.
Good
more
question.
dynamic is the key word, not necessarily
What about
better.
if I say defensively orientated?
No, go with more dynamic.
More dynamic. I'm buying that. Fair income. Yes, they are more dynamic. Lachie Neale is a superstar, but they had a bit more speed about them, a bit more energy, a bit more responsibility on some young players, and they stepped up. So they are, and I thought this last week, good enough to cover the loss of Lachie Neale with the talent they have, and they showed it, and they might be able to show it again.
Ty Gallop filling in for my man Eric. He looked pretty good.
He's good.
Kicked his first
12
goal.
disposals, couple of snaggies, a few marks inside forward 50.
Yeah, I don't mind him. Damo, if Collingwood lose in a tight one, they will regret not naming Bobby Hill.
Fair income. Yeah. I still can't get a read on this. I was 100 to 1 on him 3 weeks ago. I was 15 to 1 on the weekend. I'm probably back out to about 25 to 1 now that he plays. So, but they're going to have it at the back of their mind. If they don't pick him and they lose by a few goals or a few points, they're going to wonder what. I think they'll err on the side of caution and not pick him for what it's worth, but they're going to wonder if the result doesn't go their way.
Can't regret it. No, if he doesn't get picked and they lose, it won't be because of Bobby Hill.
If he doesn't get picked and they win, the conversations next week coming into grand final week,
That's big.
now there becomes a bit of a Nelly. That's a dilemma.
And Daisy, to borrow Joey's stat from the Sunday Rub, the 4 teams remaining have combined for 44 prelims since the turn of the century. This flies in the face of the AFL's goal of equalisation.
Well, yeah, as a statistic, it does. That's fair income. It just shows that the good sides have been dominant, and that's part of that. So a fair income to that one. It was a good stat, that.
I didn't like that it came out as a tile because I only put about 1 minute thought into it before I went on air, and then next minute Jasper posted it as a tile, and I think that's correct, but my maths I think were right. But yeah, they have played in a lot of prelims
Jeez,
anyway.
you were confident just there.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's much culturally about these clubs as it is, being able to continually top up with talent and find talent. There's something about those clubs that makes them extra special.
All the preliminary final predictions to come, those 2 huge games at the Triple MCG. That's up next on Triple M's Midweek Rub with Joey, Daisy and Damo. And we start with Friday night, Joey. It is going to be Geelong and Hawthorn at the MCG.
Yes, doing this one for Triple M. Can't wait. The old rivalry, going to be an unbelievable contest. The Cats basically been bulletproof. Their profile, when you look at their numbers stack up, they're the best in the competition. There's no real flaws in their game. They tick every box, but this Hawthorn team, gosh, I keep underestimating them. They're confident. They're riding this wave, Damo. And defensively, they are holding up. And as we know and keep saying, defense wins premierships. They're going to be a hard team to crack, the Hawks. But as we've done all year, it's hard to tip against Geelong with the freshen up, with the way they've managed this list and everything going their way. But I wouldn't be surprised with Hawthorn if they do it again, but I'll tip the Cats.
I'm the same with how I think it's going to unfold. I've tipped Geelong 24 times this year, the 23 times in home and away season, and again, the qualifying final. So, of course, I'm going to tip them here again. But the confidence levels attached to that tip in this game are not as strong as they often are with me and the Cats.
Like in many finals, pressure and how you handle it is going to be a massive part of it. So scores from turnover, massive BWS stats when it comes to Hawthorn there. They're 0 from 7 when they concede more than 50 points from turnover and 17 wins and 1 when they concede less The Cats against Brisbane in that first final, they scored 62 points from turnover. So they're very good at taking the heat, scoring the other way. We know that Hawthorn will bring it. There's something to watch. I'm going to tip the Cats with not a whole lot of confidence.
Yeah, we're all the same. Joey, there's so many subplots in this game. The Josh Weddle component is a massive one, isn't it? And then you line that up with Chris Scott, who has now had 2 weeks to prepare for this match. And the fact he's got options too with how he uses his two taggers in Mullen and O'Connor. Tom Atkins could even be the guy that goes to John Newcomb. But he'll have something already in his head and a plan A, B, C and D for what Weddle's going to do, won't he?
Yeah, it's great you brought it up. I'm doing a bit of a deep dive on the matchups tonight on First Crack because I am fascinated. These two coaches are two of the best, tactically and what they go with.
They change on the run, don't they?
They do.
Within minutes, they'll change a plan.
Who have you gone with? O'Sheen Mullen, where do you see him?
I think O'Sheen Mullen will go to Nick Watson. I think we'll visit
I'm with
Watson.
you there.
And there's almost a world where I think O'Connor might go to Dylan Moore and they'll take out those two important half forwards. And I think Atkins, who played on him in round 6.
There you go.
Because Atkins has played on all the big-bodied mids all year at stoppage. It's just really to nullify Newcomb around stoppage. Then Geelong play their team defence. I could see that unfolding. And to your other point, I can see Sam Mitchell sticking Josh Weddle on Ollie Dempsey's wing and says, let's play fire with fire. You want to go that way, Dempsey? Yeah. You try and defend Josh Weddle, pushing forward from the same wing. So, I think this will be a great tactical battle.
See, I had the O'Connor going to the Weddle wing. And then
that could be an option.
So
as well.
whatever wing he goes to, you just go with him. Yeah. You just run the pattern. We'll use the other wing. We'll have Dempsey as the outlet. He can go forward, take hangers. We need to take away that strength, and that's a pretty good like for like when you talk size and strength. O'Connor v Weddle.
Yep.
We saw it regularly last year. James Sicily being used to go forward. We haven't seen it a lot this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if just for 10 minutes he goes forward just to bamboozle the Cats as well at some stage because they've got to try and trick the other at some stage. And they're both, their systems stack up no matter where they put their players.
Yeah, and they're both coaches, as we said, rate their tactical now. So they will want to outdo each other. Chris Scott will want to still make sure that he's still the number one man. And Sam Mitchell would love the challenge of trying to tactically, outpoint Chris Scott. So, I wouldn't be surprised if there is a twist somewhere and what that looks like.
Is there a Danger Newcomb matchup anywhere?
No.
No?
I can't see it.
Okay.
Maybe first bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking the way that Newcomb was in those centre bounces with the shrug. I don't know if anyone outside of Danger has the power just head to head.
Could Danger actually want to defend, or is he just see ball, get ball? I don't know if Danger, if you said to Danger, you go and play on Newcomb.
Centre bounce and then trade up.
Be fun to watch.
Yeah.
But matchups galore. It'll be fun.
So for the record, Cats.
Yep.
Oi, oi, oi.
And then we go to Saturday night, just another cracking game. Collingwood hosting the Brisbane Lions. 2023 Grand Final rematch, Damo.
I'm going to stick with the Pies. I love Brisbane, and I'm really on them the whole year, how they've managed to respond every single time they've had a bad loss, and they did that last week against the Suns. Yeah, so I just feel there was enough to like what Collingwood did in that first final to suggest that just remove your negative thoughts from those last 7 home and away games where they lost 5 and only won 2. So I go back to this team now being the one that was 10 points on the premiership table clear before round 16. So Pies for me.
Of the 4 teams left, the Pies are still the one I can't get a read on. The heart and loyalty says, they can win it. And then you look at and you go back through the numbers of that back part of the season, which all the form coming into it, you look at Hawthorn, what they're doing and the Cats, etc. They're the toughest to read, but there's almost the belief and the mindset shift from Craig McRae. He said it after the last home and away game that it's a new ball game. We've just got to win 3 more games, and they've won one of them. There's 2 to go, and for that reason, it's very hard to see why and to look past them. I just trusting Brisbane and their system. Never jumped off. Obviously, the real downer against Geelong, but yeah.
Yeah, this is hard. This is a hard one to tip. I'm with you.
I'm going to tip the Lions for what it's worth.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. Which bodes good for Collingwood because I'm seeing them like absolute grapes when it comes to tipping.
And out of all the work I've done this year, Daisy, to repair my relationship with Collingwood fans and being on them.
It's hard. This is the hardest
You still
matchup.
hate them though, don't you?
Yes.
I'm looking at that form line now, and I'm almost looking at the opposite time. I go, well, was the form line against Adelaide? Now you look at it that strong. With the way that you looked at Adelaide's end of the season finals, maybe it wasn't as strong. And Brisbane got touched up by Geelong, who we feel are airborne. I've still got in my mind what Brisbane did to Collingwood not long ago at the MCG. That second half, they blew them out the water with their ball movement, their
Morris
talent
got
level.
6,
They looked like young, fast kids playing against slow old men that
But
night.
Collingwood know how to win. This is the point. Collingwood just know how to win.
And they're fresh.
And they're and off the bye there. I think they've won 6 their last 7.
Good
Collingwood
boy.
off a bye.
Keep going. Keep
Whether it's
convincing me.
mid-season.
I'm changing me tips.
So I'm even talking myself out of it. I don't know, but I'm leaning towards Brisbane. What I saw last week against the Gold Coast, if they play to their best, Brisbane, I think their best is better than Collingwood's. So I'm going Geelong, Brisbane grand final for me.
Oh. And there's not as much tactical, I suppose, apprehension about this game, is there? As there is with the Geelong Hawthorn game.
They'll just play their way.
Yeah.
Both teams, you know what you're going to get.
We saw Fagan make a pretty quick move last week. Andrews went to King when Gardner couldn't deal with him, but that almost had to be done. It wasn't necessarily a genius move, and it worked, obviously, but there won't be too much.
I don't think Collingwood will tag McCluggage. I don't think there'll be a tag on Nick Dacos. Brisbane haven't done that in the past. They'll keep an eye on them at stoppage, and they'll try and nullify them, but I don't think there'll be any hard tags.
Billy Frampton to Harris Andrews.
I don't think so. I think they'll keep Billy Frampton in defence the way that it's worked. So this will be pretty straightforward.
So system versus system.
System, yeah. And I just think Brisbane's attacking system is a bit more dangerous than Collingwood's.
Fascinating, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is.
be
Great.
awesome weekend
pumped
of
after
footy.
hearing that
Yeah.
analysis.
Great weekend.
I'm getting nervous. I'm doing level 1 cheer squad again, which I'm not pumped about. So you've stuck with the Pies?
I'm on the fence, mate. I got
Hang
splinters
on.
in my
So
ass.
who's playing grand final?
Collingwood or Brisbane will take on the Cats.
No.
Collingwood and Geelong.
Like it.
Let's go.
Damo, you got
Change me tips in 8
I've got
hours.
the same combo, but there's no confidence in that
You've
being the
just
outcome.
confused our man that does our tips for us, the one that keeps track of it. He doesn't know now whether you've tipped
He
Brisbane or
reached out
Collingwood.
to me. He was a good kid.
Yeah, there you go. Brizzy, Geelong for me next week.
Unreal.
Catch every Collingwood. That's all.
Catch every final on Triple M and the Listener app, starting with the Friday huddle before heading to the Triple MCG for that first preliminary final. This has been Triple M Footy's Midweek Rub.